The immediate difference is that Murdoch was largely responsible for writing the first album, whereas this record is mostly the work of our guitarist Noodle.
Only because I was in prison, mate, and I could have written this album standing on my head.
As a body of work, Demon Days is more focused and considered than the first album. Maybe it has a greater gravity to it than the first record, where we were still kind of learning the ropes. It was important not to make the second album referential to our success, or even relative to the first album.
It was also important for us to change our targets. Fortunately, the world provided us with enough external stimulus and subject matter not to have to force the issue.
Stylistically, it's richer, denser, darker. It also reflects a little of the mental state that we found ourselves in. I'll speak for myself here. Which is why tracks such as Old Green World have elements of disorientation in them.
I've always had elements of disorientation to me, you know. Well, when I can find them.
Again, as the range of our influences is so extensive, it reflects that understanding of so many styles. The hip-hop, the rock, the funk, the bass, right down to the ballad. This is a whole community of instruments at play. Tiny little textures and phrases that work in harmony and complement each other.
Not that outlandish a concept, really.
Last time, it was about creating something new. This time, it's more about proving that what we created and put into motion last time had a lasting value. That our Gorillaz sound, sensibility, and insight wasn't a flash in the pan. Here today, gone tomorrow sensation. Any fool can have a hit record.
2D can vouch for that.
You gotta have a real soul and talent to sustain it again and again.
Unfortunately, I'm not the current owner of my soul.
I'm saying we'll see how good we are 7 albums down the line. It's a test of faith. Most great bands and crews tear themselves apart real soon. But the real trick is to tear yourselves apart and then put it back together differently, better. The music has a stricter discipline to it, with an undercurrent of dark optimism. It contains a kind of variety of pagan electro sounds, but the album has a fuller breadth of vision this time round. I mean, it's still heavy on the bass, but less dub, more hip-hop. But it also contains a lot of old England pastoral soul, humanist sonics, if that makes sense.
Not really.
Like someone's taken the first album and coloured it in.
The soul of the recording can avoid being a manifestation of the time, climate and location of the place we were in when it was made. Consequently, the colours are rich, dark and heavy, while the rhythms are clean, strategic and relentless. It has a consciousness to it.
The stuff I used to listen to as a kid, like Public Enemy, had a great combination of information, intelligence and entertainment. Chuck D's conscious message coupled with Flavor Flav's big clock-wearing tomfoolery.
I grew up on stuff like Wire, Magazine, The Clash. Stuff that had great rhythms, great songs and sharp lyrics.
You never grew up, twerp. You're like a 5-year-old trapped inside a blue-haired anorexic girl.
It was the procedure of recording this that became the education. The final outcome is the document, but the journey was the destination. The decision to release this song, Feel Good Inc., as the first single came from Gorillaz as a group. We each get a vote.
Although, as is traditional, every one of my votes counts for double of 2Ds.
However, the song revealed itself to be the correct choice for a single. Although not typical or completely representative of the album, it is a good ambassador for Demon Days as a whole.
Do you understand what she's on about?
I haven't got a Scooby, mate. I'd leave her to it.
Some people contacted us, some we contacted ourselves, and some were already friends of the band. Danger Mouse came with his own network of people. It's always encouraging to meet people we respect and find out that they're already Gorillaz fans too.
Sean Ryder, who appears on the track Dare. Yeah, well, you know, he's an old friend of mine. A fellow ornithologist.
What's an ornithologist?
A bird watcher.
We would love to tour this album, but visually it would need to match the ambition and tone of the album. We wouldn't tour again in the same format that we did for the last album.
Oh, yeah, Gorillaz on the road. Wow, yeah. Hey, you ain't a real band until you've earned your stripes. Gorillaz live, you know, it's like a full-on juggernaut. And I need servicing every 200 miles, baby.
That's because you clapped hands.
Touring can be great fun, but if you don't watch yourself, it can kind of take you over. Yeah, Gorillaz always draws a great crowd. You know, after the show, you know what I've noticed? You know what I've noticed? There's so many interesting people to meet. You know, there's a lot of fun to be had, even with the nutters and stalkers that turn up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everyone gets a little excited when something special rolls into town. And I guess a 50-foot cartoon freak show is no exception.
Did you see the Brit Awards gig we did, huh? Oh, it was bleeding marvellous.
Yeah, there was this rumor that we were playing behind the screen last time round. But we decided to really up the stakes for the new tour, to create a real jaw-dropping experience. We're currently in the process of developing some pretty high-tech technology to make screens walk on stilts and drink fire.
Yes, this is very difficult to do.
Yeah, especially if you like play instruments and sing at the same time.
It'd be great to tour again. Also, I must mention that as a live drummer, Russel is without a doubt the absolute best in the world, ever.
Yes, that's true. Russell is the greatest live drummer possibly in the history of drum.
Yeah, that's totally true, yep. There's no one as good as him as a drummer when it comes to playing live. He's the best, he really is, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, if it hadn't sold so well and made me the star you see before you now, I would have got all my money back, and the old fellow would have broken the terms of the contract, see? Anyway, you know, recording an album you don't think is going to sell is like putting a bet on a horse you don't think's going to win. You know, we wouldn't have made it if we thought it wasn't going to sell.
Well, Murdoch, some people record music just for the love of making it, whether it sells or not.
Really? That seems pretty pointless to me.
You gotta forgive Murdoch. He's very temperamental.
Yeah, half temper, half mental.
From the first moment the four of us played together, it was apparent that the combination of ingredients were correct. Special. It is not egotistical to say this, as we were as excited to witness our own performance for the first time as any of our audience would be. Initially, we were our own private audience, and playing together was like a secret event that we couldn't wait to reveal.
I would say it's down to a number of things. My superb bass playing, the incredible songwriting, and the razor-sharp image that makes up the whole Gorillaz package. Though, if you really ask me to pin it down to a single solitary reason, I would probably have to say it was because of the watertight deal I made with Satan, Beelzebub himself. Faust is in fact my middle name.
Man, if the devil went and bought your soul, there's gotta be a real shortage of souls for sale. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say.
Yeah, well, aside from that, I would have to point out that the competition was truly rubbish. I mean, most bands seem to just limp out there sort of half-cocked. We made sure our videos looked fan-bleeding-tastic, our sleeves were mind-blowing, and the music sounded unbeatable. You know, we had our whole battle plan together, you know, and we had it down. You know, it was drawn up with military precision.
Albeit by a bunch of drunk colonels, in your case.
I would say that for many groups and artists, there is a desire to add to a tradition or a history of music rather than stand apart from it or advance it. They seem happy just to be in a band. For them, that is enough. The other extremes are artists who are willing to push boundaries, but at the expense of their audience, a desire to seem above your listeners or alienate your audience in order to feel above them. I think we represent ourselves in a very non-traditional way, with consideration and forethought, but without pushing people away. We like to warmly invite people into the world of Gorillaz, which is very detailed and fun without being shallow and facile. It inspires and entertains without being condescending.
I think we just assembled our influences and qualities in a certain combination that appealed to people. People just like what we did because it's good. Simple as that.
And no one had done what we had done before. And also, I'm good at singing.
It's important to have clean, shiny shoes as well, if possible. Nice, clean, shiny shoes. Right. Now, there was this one time I distinctly remember. I'm at a big celeb party over at Jack Nicholson's house.
Oh, man, please don't tell this story.
I got this old hot dog roll, right? I sort of put it on my knob, right? Well, actually, no, I didn't actually put it on the knob. I sort of put my knob in it, and I squeezed a load of ketchup over the top, right? So what I do is I offer this sort of hot dog on a plate to that Alanis Morissette bird. And what she did, she's like tugging away at it and trying to get it off the plate. But it's not coming off, see? So, meanwhile, I'm making like, yeah, baby, grab that hot dog, grab it good time.
Listen, man, you gotta stop this.
Now, I've done this trick about 1,000 times, and normally, this is the point when I get thrown out of the party. I get beaten up or whatever. But this time, oh yeah, this time, everyone froze. Like statues. And then a gentle sort of ripple of laughter and applause went around the room. And you know what? Even old Alanis managed a great big smile. She knew that I'd just caught her out with the old cock dog routine. Yeah. That is when I realised I had truly arrived.
So did she eat the hot dog?
Well, eventually, see? The nice thing about being a celebrity now is that if you bore the crap out of people, well, they just think it's their fault. Hello?
Hey, Murdoch, is el bandido Pedro?
Oh, it's you.
I want my money. If I don't get my money, I'm gonna take you and your gorillas and stick them down the toilet. I'm gonna grab your cajones. I'll kill you. I'll burn your house to the ground. Don't mess with me, I'm a bandido.
Listen, Pedro, you little bugger. I'll bring your sodding taco back as soon as I finish this interview. Ciao, mate.
Have a nice day.
Who was that?
No one. Wrong number. So, any more questions? No? Great. Cheers for that, fatty. Right, I'm off down the pub. Anyone coming? Last one to the bars, I want...
I would say don't look for all of your happiness in just one place.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to ask the big questions in life. Just don't expect any answers.
Don't take it all too... No, wait a minute. You should always think... no, that's wrong. No, actually, I don't think I've learned anything. And that is a lesson in itself.